Okay, turnover. Philly's got the ball at their own 16. Teams are out there right now, but I want to take a peek at the radar. We've got some lightning in the area within 6 miles of Lincoln Financial Field. Sean Smith is talking to the folks who are watching this.
The game has been suspended for lightning in the area.
Yeah, I thought that was coming. So the game has been suspended with lightning in the area here at 10:26 Eastern Time. There is a cell that is south of us that has crossed into New Jersey, and then we've got other weather right around the airport coming up from Wilmington, Delaware, that is on path towards here at Lincoln Financial Field. And when there is lightning involved, it requires a suspension of the game, and it happens at the 4:44 mark here of the third quarter.
You've been hanging around with Al Roker, haven't you?
I have.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You've got that. I'm looking at your map there. You're working it.
Nobody beats the great Mr. Roker, but we sat through about 1,000 of these in 30 years of doing golf, so you kind of get a fake meteorology degree. And the teams will not clear the field. Oftentimes when this happens, the fans are asked to clear the lower bowl of the stadium. And you get a delay at an odd time when the players have just had the halftime delay. Each team's had a possession in this third quarter, and now they're going to have to cool their heels with just under a third of the game remaining to be played.
Your attention, please.
It's the announcer to clear the lower bowl.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued by the National Weather Service for our area. These storms may produce severe conditions, including lightning and strong winds. For your safety, we encourage you to seek shelter immediately.
There was rain in the forecast all day. It has not rained for a week. It's not going to rain for the next 3 days. And it was just this window. So Nick Sirianni and company will head back to the Eagles locker room.
The players hate this. I mean, it's the hardest thing to do in football is to get warmed up. Anytime, practice, game, whatever. So then you go in at halftime, and there's 12 minutes. Okay, you got to get warmed up again. Now you got to go back, and you got to get warmed up again when you've already taken over a half and a quarter of a beating out there. It just gets harder every time, which is what makes the Super Bowl always so hard. That's those 40, 45-minute halftimes. I mean, literally, we've heard people taking naps in between, but you've got to be able to get your body going again. And every time you get cooled off, it just gets harder the next time.
So you see the focus on the two quarterbacks, and Prescott and Hurts as they come in. We mentioned the wind was picking up, these showers that were around us all day, and we have to take safety first. So once there's a lightning strike within a certain radius and the look at the radar, you've got to make that decision to keep some 70,000 people safe, in addition to the players and officials and everybody else on this field. The rain is starting to come down, so hopefully they got ahead of this. If there is no lightning, then we would have been able to keep playing, and there was the hope that with these showers coming at around 10:30 local time, the daytime heating, which sometimes boils up those thunderstorms, would have negated what we're seeing right here, having to stop play, but it did not. So let me ask you this question here, just in regards to the delay. These teams had not played for these starters 4 quarters. Nobody plays in the preseason. Neither quarterback has played in the preseason. They've come out and been very sharp so far.
Yep.
Could this in any way help to get another break before the last 20 minutes of this game, being that it's week 1 of the season?
Well, it's possible, especially for the Philadelphia Eagles, because without Jalen Carter in there, you have, one fewer guy in there rushing the passer. So, yeah, it certainly could help you a little bit. But that was a huge play that we just saw. Yeah. I mean, let's not underestimate that when the Dallas Cowboys going in, probably at least going to be able to cut it to 1 in this play.
But you saw another huge play after the fumble.
Yeah, watch Dak Prescott at the end of this play. And what we're going to see is him come around and make a touchdown-saving tackle, because nobody is going to catch Quinyon Mitchell, who runs 4.33 in the 40-yard dash. And look how much space he has. And look at the tackle by Dak Prescott. Absolutely perfect. We saw Ben Roethlisberger do it in a playoff game one time. Absolutely. To help out our friend Jerome Bettis.
That's right. That's right. and you saw only big guys were there. They were not going to catch Mitchell. It's a heck of a play. And
No.
You see that play, and you go back to fundamentals, right? A lot of young folks are starting their youth football seasons, high school football seasons. There's a guy 32 years old, been in the league 10 years. He's running out his fake, and he's staying alive in the play, and that allows him to make that stop.
And a new hamstring to boot, right? And what we've also learned is that he is hyper active in eating the right foods now.
Right, exactly.
Beyonce, right, is the one that's sort of leading the way for him. And he looked great. We saw that shot of him in the locker room before the game, and he's rocked up. I think you were even talking about when we were interviewing, it's like his face looks thinner. He's really ripped up.
Yeah. When you talked to Dak and he walked in the room, he's looking healthy and happy and looked great. And he said, I haven't lost a ton of weight, just kind of repositioned, repurposed. And Dak Prescott, who even told us that he's too flexible, which may have been part of the reason he had the hamstring injury, but his mobility tonight has been a positive for the Cowboys. You going to try to limber up like Dak?
No, I don't care if I'm limber. I just want to get that body that you got to go in there. Look at that tackle.
Tackle play. But you said it to us all week as we were getting ready and all really month getting ready for this game. When Dak Prescott's been healthy, this has been a 12-win team in the playoffs the 3 years before last year.
Well, and to some extent you feel for Mike McCarthy, the 2 years that they didn't play so well when he was the head coach, Dak Prescott was out. They win 12 games 3 straight times, don't do so well in the playoffs, and then he rips his hamstring last year. I mean, this is a guy that he was second in the voting for MVP 2 years ago and is coming right back and playing exactly the way he did 2 years ago.
Let's update you on what we're hearing from the NFL. We can peek at the radar as well. 11:15 is when they think the area might be clear of the lightning, and then it would be another 12 minutes of warm-up time after that. So that would be 57 minutes from now or thereabouts to get the game back started one more time. So that gives you an idea of where we are. And you see the radar, which doesn't necessarily show any clouds of ground or any lightning, but you can see some in the distance there. And that's why we've put this thing on pause. Just inside of 5 minutes left, third quarter. Eagles by 4 in a weather delay here in South Philly. It will be Eagles ball when we get restarted, as we have a weather delay about 11 minutes into it right now here in Philly. Eagles leading the Cowboys 24-20. You see that cell that has come up, and you can see some lightning right between the N and the F in Lincoln and Financial there. And when it gets within a certain radius, they pull the plug on the game, get as many people as they can to seek shelter. Fortunately, behind it looks okay, so no matter what happens, looks like we'll get back to some football maybe in a half hour or so. We could take this time to prepare for the Ravens and Bills on Sunday, since we're jammed with 2 games in 4 days.
Yeah, bet on that.
So if we're going to do that, Maria and company are back up in a tunnel that we were hiding in a few years ago when we had a delay on the opening night. All right, Maria, you and the guys got it in that tunnel.
Hey, it's becoming a regular thing. If we're going to kick off the season, we're going to have some kind of weather delay, which means you get to hear from us a little bit more, so I'm not going to complain about it.
You're right.
Exit the green room, come into the tunnel. We are seeing all the fans slowly exit out of the bowl and just get to safety on the concourse or down here through the tunnels. But, guys, let's talk about the impact that this could possibly have on both teams. I mean, it's the first week of the season. It's the first time you're getting a look at your squad, and now you have to go in the locker room, hit reset, and finish out this third and fourth quarter.
I think it's the unknown. No one knows how any players as a group is going to respond. As a coach, you're like, hey, I know some guys from last year, but how does that mix into this year? So I think the unknown of it being the first game, you can't truly trust and say, I know my group, we're resilient, we'll be back ready to go. So as a coach, I'll be really nervous.
My first instinct would think that it would benefit Philadelphia. Championship team from last year, a mature team, but they've shown their youth, right? They're a young team on both sides of the ball, and they've seen a little bit of that youth here tonight with some of the mistakes that they've made. So I'm not so sure it works to their advantage at all.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and just go, man, the energy it takes to play a football game anyways. Now we're going to go sit down, chill out. Also, we're not in game shape yet. We're just working there. And now, again, we're going to sit there and chill out and then go ramp it up again. It is going to be tough. I mean, I know they're going to be able to do it, but it's certainly a weird circumstance for everybody.
And remember, they had a banner unveiled today. There's already like emotions kind of riding on this.
doubt.
Yeah, the extended pregame. Jason, I don't know if you've ever been through this before as a coach, but what do you do back there in that locker room?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is communicate. Hey, guys, this is what we got. Till 11:15, there's a warning. There's going to be a 12-minute warm-up. Take your pads off. Just be overly communicative with your guys. Tell them to take their time, rest, and then as we get closer, we're going to ramp up and get the emotions right.
Okay. Position coaches get around a little bit to their guys. They talk about little things that they saw even here in the third quarter.
And it gives you another chance to make some adjustments, too. Really kind of look about it and think about it, maybe more so than you would during the flow of the game.
And I do think how you mentioned the Super Bowl, when you think about a Super Bowl halftime, you practice that. You talk about that. So, yes, the coaches, but there's Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond, these guys who were just in the Super Bowl a year ago, they can go and talk to these young players and say, do this, do that, get ready to go. Not all of those little things you can do, it's big for that team.
What stinks is the game's been fun. It's back and forth. The quarterbacks are on fire. The defenses have not been around very much, right?
Not only that, where it stinks. Just where we were in the point of the game. I mean, we could just go back to Miles Sanders' fumble, the Eagles thinking, okay, we got the takeaway that we need right here, and then all of a sudden it all stops. But this was a big play.
And no doubt was. And right here, Collinsworth was mentioning it. Dak Prescott making that tackle was a huge play because Quinyon Mitchell, as we know from a year ago at the Combine, he's a pretty fast player. He gets that ball with no one in front of him. He's gone. But I think for Philly, as Dallas is driving, to get that turnover in that moment, a little tush push to cap it off.
I love that celebration.
And if you think about this game, I mean, each offense has held serve all throughout the game. Every drive you're going down and score, and they're matching each other. And a big turnover like this, as Dallas is going in, can shift the balance the other way once they get back playing.
Yeah, definitely. It's been the CeeDee Lamb show. We've seen that. All right, they can't do that forever, or George Pickens is not going to be happy to be a Dallas Cowboy. It's been a whole lot of CeeDee, but I'm still excited what you see from the Dallas Cowboy offense. And on the other side, I mean, Saquon, Jalen Hurts, we haven't seen the receivers of the Eagles get involved yet. No A.J. Brown. So that'll be interesting here to see going forward.
Let's get back to CeeDee Lamb. 4 catches for 86 yards. Let's talk about the Dallas offense in general. Remember, Dak Prescott missed the last 9 games of the season with that hamstring injury. So we're wondering, what are we going to get? You mentioned George Pickens being added in. And so far, without Jalen Carter in the mix, they've had their way.
And I've been trying to figure out, Philadelphia has matched, whether it's been a Dory Jackson or Jacorian Bennett, on CeeDee Lamb and put Mitchell to Pickens. That's not really working out too well for him. You said, I think what they decided to do coming into this game is saying CeeDee Lamb is better than whoever you put on him. We're going to throw, and we're going to throw at him over and over again, and it's worked well so far.
I talked to Vic Fangio, their defensive coordinator, during training camp, and he had real concern about the corner opposite Mitchell. Darius Slay has gone. Isaiah Rodgers gone to Detroit. And so there was a competition during camp, and they were concerned, and rightfully so. Adori's having a hard time with CeeDee.
Staying on the Dallas offense, the offensive line's been impressive. It helps when Jalen Carter's not there. They got a good-looking group, though. I mean, we were up close in pregame. It's not the Eagles, but it's got the potential to be something special down the road. And we saw Javonte Williams got an injury a few years ago playing in Denver. They didn't want him anymore, and he certainly looks like he's revived right now.
Yeah, some questions around that running back position, so good to see them going. And really questions coming in for the Cowboys. We were wondering how they're going to respond to just a week before the season starting. Micah Parsons, your best pass rusher, generational talent, has gone to the Packers. And so far, I feel like we've seen poise.
Poise. And that's another thing that I think I gained in the pregame a little bit. I think you guys did too. Dallas was very confident. When you asked them, hey, how do you guys feel? We like our team. They kind of gave you the eye. Like, we like our guys. We're all right tonight, right? So I felt like they came into the game with confidence, and they've showed it here on the field.
But think about both offenses being as efficient as they've been, both quarterbacks being comfortable, both teams being able to run the ball. You take Michael Parsons off of Dallas's defense, that helps Philadelphia's offense. You take Jalen Carter off of Philly's defense, that helps Dallas's offense. So 2 most disruptive players in the NFL not playing in this game.
And it's the guy you hugged before the game, Dak Prescott. To me, I think that's what it's all about. When you lose a guy like Michael Parsons, do you have another guy to turn to and everybody say, just follow him? And I think they looked at number 4 and White, and they said, Dak, we're following you wherever you go. And it started with him getting somebody spits in his face, and I'm sure he rallied those guys, and they came out and responded.
Dak's teammates have been following him for 10 years.
That's right.
It started as a rookie.
Yeah, he looks really good. He looks slim and trim. He's moving well, and man, he's throwing the ball really well too.
Yeah, I'm sure he wishes he was on the field right now, but we are in the middle of a weather delay. We won't get restarted until at least 11:15. After that, there'll be a 10-minute warm-up for all the players on the field to get back ready to finish out this game. About 4:44 left on the clock, and we're taking up one tunnel. We got another crew in another tunnel. Jack, Tony, Rodney, what are you guys doing, hanging out as we get through this weather delay together?
Yeah, Maria, I think we're all wishing we were on the field right now. We're over here in the Cowboys tunnel. Let's be honest about this one, Coach. We all came into this game thinking the defending champs were going to look pretty good. We all picked them to start the game. What have you seen from them so far?
Well, I've seen the offense function the way we think Philadelphia's offense should function. I'm a little concerned about the defense, and I'm concerned about the attitude of this team. All we heard all year was, hey, we're not defending anything. We're looking forward. We're focused. Well, now I see a team. The last time I saw this defense, they shut Kansas City down. Patrick Mahomes couldn't do anything. They haven't stopped these guys yet. We've had 8 penalties. We've had a player thrown out of the game. We're not seeing the championship focus that I expected to see.
Yeah, we talk about Jalen Carter. I was really disappointed with him. He has to understand how important he is to that team. They've lost a bunch of guys, so he's the best player on that defense. And I just thought it was very selfish and very disrespectful to spit in Dak's face. Dak doesn't deserve that. No one deserves it.
No one does. Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like that? We're talking about the opening huddle of the game. He walks right up to the quarterback. Every camera in the stadium is pointing right at Dak Prescott. What was your reaction looking at that?
I just don't understand it. I don't know how you can do that as a man, first of all, but then to let your teammates down, that's unspeakable.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I always talked about, Coach, not letting my teammates down, never wanting to disappoint my teammates, always being available for my teammates, and something like that has nothing to do with football.
And Jalen Hurts, he's been able to run around a good bit, especially in the first half of this game. What have you seen from Dallas on the defensive side?
Well, the one thing I like what Dallas is doing, they're keeping 2 safeties back, Coach, protecting the deep part of the field. But with that, you have to have some level of spy. This is Jalen Hurts. He's been doing this since Pop Warner. He's been running around scrambling. You have to make sure. And then when they switch to man-to-man, they still don't have a spy on them. Like, where's the spy right here, Coach? It's man-to-man, and you have no spy.
And what you see is you don't see a dominant pass rusher. This is what people said when Micah Parsons is traded. This is what you're going to lose. Where is that pressure? Jalen Hurts is very, very comfortable back there. And again, you're talking about the defense taking away those wide receivers, but not accounting for Hurts.
Yeah, I expect Eberflus in the second half to come with a little bit more pressure. Jalen can't feel like he just has all day back there.
And Coach Dungy, you just were down there in Dallas. You met with Coach Schottenheimer, got his thoughts on this team. What would he think of this start to the season, do you believe?
I think he's excited about it. And it's funny because he told me exactly what he wanted to do. I want to dominate the line of scrimmage. I want to get physical. I want to run the football. And then I've got wide receivers that can make plays. And offensively, they've done exactly what he set out to do.
The players respect him, and you could tell. You could just tell the way they're playing. They're playing hard. They're buying into the system. And I think he's done a really good job, Jack.
All right, let's go back over to Maria Taylor. She may be checking this Doppler radar for us. Maybe a positive update. Maria, what are you hearing?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn into Al Roker, but my best is not besting. But we do know we'll have an update around 11 p.m. And again, after the players come back onto the field, they'll have about a 10-minute warm-up to get ready to finish out this game. Now, when we come back, we'll still get you set. I mean, plenty of games coming up on Sunday, including our Sunday Night Football matchup between the Ravens and the Bills. We'll just get into breakdown mode for the first Sunday of the football season. That's coming up next. Well, we're here to kick off the 2025 NFL season. We're just taking a little quick break. We're in the middle of a weather delay. We're going to have an update around 11 p.m. no matter what. When the players come back on the field, they'll have about 10 minutes to get set to finish out this game. We got 4:44 left in the third quarter right now, 24-20. The Eagles with the lead and the ball when we actually get this game started again at Lincoln Financial Field. All right, it is Thursday. We're kicking off the season, but guess what? Friday night in Brazil, it's going to be on and popping. We've got the Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, and Jason Garrett had a chance to sit down with Andy Reid coming off that Super Bowl 59 loss and how the Chiefs were preparing for this season.
unbelievable year last year, 15 wins. You go to the Super Bowl, you're 6th, and you have a tough day against Philadelphia. They were a really good football team.
Very good.
How do you pull back and evaluate that game and go forward?
There's some great things we can learn from that.
You learned a lot.
I sat back and I was curious to see how the players would handle it, and they all took blame. If you can do that, then you can make change and correct yourself.
Practice great and be great.
The attitude, excitement to get back in here and work, I think gave us all a charge. That stemmed from how the guys handled after the game. They were real with it. We got our tail kicked.
Hey, they're keeping it real, they're taking the blame, and they're trying to make it to their 4th straight Super Bowl. But the question is, do we feel like the Chiefs are better this season than they were a season ago? Jason, what was your takeaway from spending some time with them?
They are better, and it starts with that championship mentality that they had. I mean, great players, Hall of Fame players, some of the best guys to ever play this game. They take accountability for it. They're hungry, they're edgy. If you go to a Kansas City Chiefs practice during training camp, they practice harder and better than any team in the
awesome to watch.
Football league.
It is.
I mean, I was there one day, and they ran 130 plays like it was nothing.
Right.
And it's fast-paced, too. So they have this chip on their shoulder. Andy told me he felt like they played tight in the Super Bowl. It's not their personality at all. They felt kind of the pressure of the three-peat. So they have a different mindset, a different mentality, and more importantly, they shored up the offensive line. Philadelphia rushed 4 guys the entire game and destroyed them up front. They addressed the left tackle position with Josh Simmons. Kingsley's moving down into that left guard position. They're going to be better on that side. They're going to be a better football team.
I do think they're going to be better, and you just talked about the offensive line. You got a rookie coming in, and you got a converted tackle moving. So you feel better, but it's yet to be seen. Is that going to be a huge improvement? But I think their biggest issue is going to be the rest of the division's gotten better. Denver's a playoff team from a year ago. Their confidence should be sky high. Justin Herbert, is he going to take that big step for the Chargers? The Raiders, not as good as the other 3 teams, but I still think they're better than last year. So I think the Chiefs will struggle a little bit, just how good that division is and trying to win week in and week out.
And climbing the mountain year after year after year. How high can you go up it every year, right? That's the big thing. And you're right, the AFC West. Is it the greatest coaching division we've ever seen in the history of football? I mean, it's Super Bowls, it's national championships from all those coaches. It's going to be highly competitive, and I'm with you with the Denver Broncos. I think this is the year the Kansas City reign of the AFC West champ.
Say it again. He said it during the pregame, but if you're going to say it during the weather, I believe you.
But I'm believing it. If there's a guy that can dethrone them, I do believe in Sean Payton and that defense and what they built there.
I love Sean.
Right.
And I love what they're doing there.
Yeah.
Sean's building that team.
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you got to pull back and give these guys credit.
Yeah,
I know. 4 straight Super Bowls. What is it? 8 straight AFC championship
9 straight,
games?
9 consecutive.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I know. I'm not trying to not give them credit. I know they're not going to back down from the fight. I'm scared to death about talking negatively about them because I know that group out there, and they're going to be like, I'm going to show that idiot wrong on NBC.
But as a guy, I was on the Patriots. We won AFC East championship after championship until we didn't. Until Josh Allen entered the chat and said, I want to speak. It's my turn now. And I know a guy named Tom Brady might have had something to do with it.
Quarterback left. Melendez is still there.
But somebody has to call it out for it to happen.
Right.
And then when it happens, we'll crown Sims. We'll celebrate him.
We're not going to do that.
We'll get him a gift. That's what it'll be about.
You guys owe me after last year anyway, so you owe me.
Yeah, we owe Jason too. He's still looking for his red vest. He did win the picks. We're going to admit that now, but we're hanging the banner and moving on in the rearview mirror. I love that you brought up Josh Allen because that's our Sunday night football game. We've got the Lamar Jackson, the Ravens going on the road, taking on the Bills. And let's just say that one of these quarterbacks breaks through in the AFC. Which team do you think it would be?
Well, I want to qualify it first by how awesome I think both of these quarterbacks are. I just want that to be known. I mean, I'm a quarterback guy. I grew up in the house of a famous quarterback, and these two are as good as I've ever seen. I mean, they're special. But if you're going to make me pick one, I'm going to pick Lamar Jackson for the reason Devin said it in pregame. I just think their team is better. They have more answers. I think they have the best roster in the AFC right now, and I think they're ready finally to take that next step and win some big playoff games.
And I think we both feel the same way about Baltimore. And then the caveat of that is their best players have to be their best in the biggest biggest games. We can't watch them again and say, oh, man, a fumble by Mark Andrews or Lamar Jackson.
Zay Flowers
we can't
or whatever.
see that anymore.
Right.
I know you got a different answer over here, Coach.
No, I love Baltimore. Baltimore's a marquee franchise for 30 years. They have an amazing team. All three phases. The coach is incredible. Lamar off the charts. What bothers me about them is they haven't played their best in the playoffs. You'll come back and you say, God, there just wasn't clean.
Yeah. Right.
What's different is
I'm going to just
Buffalo
move us
has
up a step
played
because
their
we're
best.
starting to get rained on. Come on, friends.
But Buffalo has played their best.
You're right. They have played their best.
They've lost these games. These are two championship teams going toe-to-toe, and Kansas City has beaten them 4 times in the last 5 years in these big moments. But they played well. They can look at themselves in the mirror after the game and say, we played really well. They were just better. Baltimore can't say that. So somehow they got to unlock the key to that.
What do you attribute that to, right? Are they sometimes I go, wait, are they too tight and they're nervous in those situations? Or are they loose and they're kind of like, we're going to make a play and we're going to show everybody? I don't know which way to say it there, but they have made a number of key mistakes in big moments and been careless with the football.
I don't know that there's a thread that you say in every game this has been the case, because the games have been different. Some low scoring, some high scoring. But you said it. Championship teams, be your best when your best is needed. John Wooden said that years ago. It's the definition of competitive greatness. They got to unlock that key.
And I will say, I'm not sure why, but I think a part of the solution is accountability. There can't be a game where, we win, but we don't attack Lamar Jackson if he was sloppy with the football.
Right.
Or for guys running Zay Flowers and the ball's loose, or guys are dropping interceptions. Whatever that is, whether it's hardball, whether it's the veterans on the team, there has to be an accountability every single day that when the big moment happens, everybody's like, practice was harder than this.
Right.
I think that's what leads to you finishing and playing your best in those big games.
Well, listen,
Maria, can I just interrupt you? It was a good move to move forward. I got to tell you,
honestly,
it was a really good move.
I've got your back, but I'm looking out for the suit, okay? Let's check in with Melissa Stark, who does have an update for us.
Well, I'm even more forward in. I'm over in the Cowboys tunnel, nice and dry in here. And we have an update. We have a food update from the Cowboys locker room. Trayvon Diggs just came out, and he just started wandering around and said, I'm hungry. And he went to a field level suite, just like this one right here. You see all the fans back there. They're waiting anxiously for the game to start like we are. And they said, do you want my food? And he said, yeah, I want any kind of food. And then a cart came by with some cold cuts. He said, can I have a sandwich? And they said, we're actually bringing them into your locker room right now. And he was very excited. They have Uncrustables in there. They're staying hydrated. And so that's the Cowboys update. We will get you one from the Eagles locker room as soon as we have it. And there you see Trayvon just wandering around, Mike.
That is leadership, for sure. Isn't that great? That's perfect. Our Caroline Pineda down there works on our team. Following the cart, I love our team here. There is the radar just to update you, and you see it's clear behind this. We've just had the heaviest rain as Maria moved the guys up the tunnel to protect everybody's suits in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Other than that, we have not had a lot of heavy rain. We await an update, hopefully in a few minutes, and look forward to getting back to football. We've been suspended since 10:25 local time, just over a half hour. If you are just joining us, let's show you how we have arrived at 24-20 in the opening game of the 2025 NFL season. This night is about the banner, and the banner was unveiled after a chorus of Fly Eagles Fly, the second Super Bowl banner here at the Link. Pyrotechnics, the fireworks. And the Eagles take the field trying to win a third Super Bowl title and do what the Chiefs did right before them, win back-to-back Lombardi trophies as Super Bowl champs. The very first play of the game, an injury on the kickoff, and then while we're waiting with an injured player, Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott. Didn't play against each other last year. No known history between the two. Carter ejected. Mike Florio reporting on Pro Football Talk. Potentially further action as the NFL reviews that. So the Cowboys with good field position take the opening drive, and CeeDee Lamb downfield a factor, Chris.
Yeah, they've just been running it. Finally, they get the one-on-one they're looking for. Hit CD, and Javonte Williams did the rest.
Punches it in to cap off a 6-play, 53-yard drive. Philadelphia gets the ball, walks it right back down the field. Remember this, Hurts, nobody open, takes off, runs in for a touchdown to tie the game at 7. And on the ensuing drive, Dallas goes back down the field. Williams caps off an 88-yard drive with a score, 14-7. Remember I said, remember Hurts? Second drive, same result.
Same result, and if you watch the offensive line play on these scrambles, those linemen are holding their blocks for 4 and 5 seconds, so eventually they can open up a hole for a Saquon Barkley to take it the distance.
That was after a Brandon Aubrey field goal. It was 21-20 at the half. Eagles had a field goal in the third. Then on this drive, the last drive, Miles Sanders, after a 49-yard run earlier, fumbles, recovered by Quinyon Mitchell, but Dak Prescott makes a pivotal tackle to keep us at 24-20. Philly ball when we return to action at their own 16-yard line. Give me your thoughts on what the quarterbacks have done thus far tonight.
Both have been great. I mean, they really have been. Dak's numbers are not going to look quite that good. And most of what Jalen's been able to do is with his legs. But when they play the man coverage, he just simply has bought his time. But I can't emphasize enough, and we talk about it all the time with the Philadelphia Eagles, that offensive line, they don't stop blocking after 4 seconds. Almost every offensive line in the world would stop blocking because they know the quarterback doesn't hold the ball that long. And yet we have seen Jalen be able to hold it, move around, ultimately scramble, and make the big plays. And so tremendous. It's so exciting. I just want to get back to the game and get back to playing it. But the story of this game, Mike, at the end of it, for whichever side that ends up losing, is going to be you didn't have your pass rusher.
Right.
And so you got picked apart. And Jalen Carter with the spit and gets thrown out of the game, Micah Parsons in Green Bay. But that's going to be the story of this game, that neither team could get enough pressure.
You want good news?
Yes.
Yeah, we're hearing from the league now. 11:15 players will come out, so that'll be in 14 minutes, and we should be back to action by 11:30. So if you know your friend has taken a nap, wake them up. Get them back in front of the TV. We'll be back on the field at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 in Dallas. Speaking of Dallas, of course, all the attention has been on Micah Parsons and the trade and all the stuff that was going on in camp. Not much talk about Brian Schottenheimer taking over as the head coach. As mentioned earlier, his dad, Marty, legend in the game, did not get to the Super Bowl, did everything else, 8th all-time in wins and 200. I want to go back to when Schottenheimer was named as the man to replace Mike McCarthy and listen to the comments of Jerry Jones about Schottenheimer and the family ties.
One of the things he said to his mama is, "Mama, I'm going to get what Daddy didn't get a chance to get, or got a chance but didn't get. And I'm going to get a Super Bowl if it kills me." And his mother, of course, was emotional. This one will be for Daddy, the first one.
Pat, this was a pre-game emotional moment for Brian Schottenheimer. He told us when we were in Dallas and we're talking with him on Monday, said during the national anthem, I talked to God and Pops.
Yeah.
And he certainly feels the presence of his dad.
Yeah, you could just feel it.
Melissa Stark, you can add to this story.
Yes, guys. I spoke to Brian's mom, Pat, and she told me that Marty had a huge influence on who Brian is as a person, but always told him, just don't try to be me as a coach. Just be yourself. And she said the first thing Brian said to her after getting the job was, I am going to get a Super Bowl ring for Dad. And when I asked what advice she thought Marty would have for Brian before this game, she said, I think he would say, you're in a very elite group of people. Be proud. And by the way, his mom, Pat, is watching the game at home tonight alone. She doesn't like to watch with other people. She's on a group text with all the family members. She's going to have to stay up a little later than she thought. But she told me, she said, I've seen a lot of football. I don't normally get nervous. But this one, his first head coaching game, I'm nervous.
She's a special woman. Hi to Pat, Marty's widow. What a wonderful lady. You got to know Marty, obviously, going up against his teams over the years, covering him. He worked with us as I was working the Cleveland Browns expansion draft. When they came back in the league, I got to spend days with Marty. Just a wonderful man. And Chris, I'm reminded of what Brian told us about being ready for the job, even though it's his first head coaching job after a quarter century. Like, whatever happens in the circus that is Dallas, and something's going to always happen in Dallas, he's ready for it because he's kind of lived it already.
He is, and he sort of admitted to us that he knows he's also married to Dak. You know, how Dak in this offense goes is how he's going to do as a head coach. And so he's down there calling the plays. And you have to say, so far, both of these coordinators and play callers have done a fantastic job. But it is really interesting to me and I've known it, but when you see it in play, you really understand it. If your defense has somebody that you have to double team, you have to double team those guys. Everybody else get those one-on-ones, and they look like really good players. But if you don't have that player that you have to double team, Jalen Carter's out, Micah Parsons is out. Now everybody is on their own. You don't get that double team to draw blocks off of the other players. And, man, what a difference it has made for these two defenses tonight. It
has changed the game. Brian Schottenheimer's done a great job of calling plays against that absent Carter Philadelphia defense. You may have heard the noise in the background. That was posted on the video boards here, and the fans in their Eagles greet, many of whom have been tailgating since the Today Show this morning. We were down here with Savannah and company at 7 a.m. There was a long line of cars waiting on 11th Street, waiting to the lots to open at 1:20 local time. They've been here a while, but they're coming back to their seats.
The only thing I don't understand about this entire night, a Dallas Cowboys player went out looking for food, and the Philadelphia Eagles fed them food. Am I to understand that?
And he's trusting the food.
That's a solid point right there. That Michael Jordan story.
Michael Jordan's here somewhere, by the way, tonight.
I saw him. Yeah,
Jordan is here to help honor Jalen Hurts, the first Jordan brand athlete to win an MVP in the National Football League. So he was at the North Carolina game on Monday when the Bill Belichick debut happened at his alma mater. This was earlier with MJ sitting taking in the games.
What was the advertising campaign? Something about Love Hurts?
Love Hurts.
Like that? Yeah.
Because there was that shot. Remember the famous shot of Jordan and the NBA championship trophy after he won the finals emotionally? There was a shot of Jalen Hurts with the Lombardi trophy just kind of sitting there and just taking it all in and soaking in the moment. Thanks our great teams all over it. And just that cigar. And that was like a Jordan-esque shot, an image for Jalen Hurts as he took it all in after winning the title about 8 short months ago, and now trying to do it again. That guy did it 6 times. And Jalen has used Michael Jordan, along with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, who you had mentioned before, as a resource in his pursuit of greatness and excellence and sustained excellence, along with leadership along the way.
Yeah, and I know I met Michael Jordan once, and all he did was bust my chops the whole time I was sitting there.
You saw that. It was pretty good.
But, he is one of those guys that if you grew up, and I'm going to put myself in that category, that you watched what he was able to do on the basketball court, and you just marvel, and the great thing is we get to get a little piece of him for our NBA coverage this year. You got to be a little excited about that, right?
More than a little.
Yeah.
But we've got that coming up. I'm excited about the football game starting here in a few minutes. I'm going to see if anybody's going to bring us food, like the guys got food down in the Dallas locker room.
I am not sure the Philly fans are doing that.
The fans are coming back. They have some beverages. They're ready to still go. We're going to be back on the field playing here in about 23 minutes. Players on the field in about 8 minutes, and we'll get back down to Maria and company as we continue in this delay.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. We've been in a weather delay for about an hour, but you can see the fans have been allowed back into the bowl. They're coming from the concourse. The players are expected to get back on the field at 11:15, and the game is expected to resume at 11:30. Now, since the fans are allowed back into the stadium, we're allowed back on the field. Let's check back in with Jack, Tony, and Rodney.
Yeah, Maria, we are down on the field. Fans right up top smiling again and no football's coming. Coach, you said you used to practice scenarios like this. What would that look like?
Well, I laughed when Devin McCourty said, well, you never know how your player's going to react to this. I was an assistant coach for Denny Green, and he said, I always want to practice the unexpected. So he would deliberately set it up. Hey, we've got practice at 9 o'clock. Let the guys get out there at 9. Send them back in the locker room. We're not going to practice till 9:30. Have to get yourself going. Then he would go another time and say, all right, we practiced 10 periods, we stop, go back in the locker room, wait 15, 20 minutes, come back out. And how are they going to handle it? Well, if you're ready for it, you know what to do, it helps. Coaches had an opportunity. This very rarely happens, but these coaches had a chance to really survey things, look at what they've done. We've only got 20 minutes of game time left. We need this amount of points. What are we going to do? They can be very specific. Now the players have to come out next.
And that's Coach Dungy right there in this coaching element. But I tell you, I played in 4 Super Bowls, and it's very similar to a Super Bowl halftime, where it's about 45 minutes to almost 50 minutes, Coach, where you have to try to come out and get warmed back up. And a lot of of times it affects the veteran players a lot more than the younger players. But mentally, it affects the young players because a lot of times they don't know how to refocus. So it's tough, but it gives you an opportunity to sit down and almost have like a second halftime.
One of the last things that we saw was Dak Prescott making that incredible tackle to go really stop potentially a touchdown after the fumble. What do you make of where this game sits right now?
Well, I love the way Dak Prescott has been, and you said it in the pregame. With this Michael Parsons situation, Dak was going to have to be the leader, and he has been. He's played well out here, and he's rallied his guys.
Coach, when he first came out, I looked at you guys and I said, wow, Dak looks really good. He looks like he's lost 10 or 15 pounds. He looks quicker. He looks like he has more confidence when he's in the pocket and outside the pocket. We didn't see Dak Prescott run a lot the last couple years, and I thought he looked fantastic. And I love his aggressive mindset throwing the ball down the field.
First look at George Pickens as well. What do you think?
George Pickens can make some plays. There's no question about it. He's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage because of C.D. Lamb. But George Pickens has to be disciplined. We saw some of this in Pittsburgh. You're coming in, big point in the game there in the third quarter. You're coming in to make a block. You make your block, we're going to be in good shape. You get a penalty and sets the team back just with bad technique.
Yeah, and what did Coach call it? He called it,
Pittsburgh Pickens.
Pittsburgh Pickens. That was a good one.
And the Dallas Cowboys making their way down the tunnel right now, and will walk right past us as they make their way back out onto the field as we send it back over to Maria Taylor.
All right, appreciate it, Jack. And yeah, you actually see Dak making his way back onto the field. Remember, we hadn't seen Dak Prescott since week 9 of last season, but he's come out, looked very comfortable as he entered into this game. Didn't hurt that Jalen Carter did get to play it down 6 seconds into this matchup, spit on Prescott, and so he's been out. So the Philly defense not having their game wrecker and then having to deal with the weather delay. We had the delay for about an hour, guys, and now players set to take the field again. They got about 15 minutes to warm up again. Okay, what's important if you're a player to get it going again to finish out this game?
As much as football is a team sport, each individual player needs to do what they need to do to get ready to go. It's not going to be the same across the board. I'm sure their strength and conditioning coach will come out and say, let's do this, let's do that. But you know what you need. You better get it done as soon as they start this game.
And as a coach, you have to emphasize, guys, re-warm up. Run. It has to be an active warm-up. It can't be, hey, I'm touching my toes, I'm ready to play. You got to move around and get yourself ready to play an NFL football play after sitting for a half hour, 45 minutes.
Full intensity play, right? That's the biggest thing. For a quarterback, I think Dak Prescott, he's probably going to go, wow, I got to get the arm warm again. I got to throw some footballs. I got to be able to throw 40-yard balls and 15-yard out routes. And then also that, right, you got to check back in mentally. Go, wait, I was over there relaxing in the locker room for a few minutes. We got all these checks and things we're doing in the offense. That's the part I'm amazed by right now.
Yeah, you got to get ready to lock back in. Again, 4:44 left on the clock in the third quarter. We got a 4-point game. Not only that, the Eagles get the ball. They just forced a turnover. This was a turning point in the game, and then we literally turned it off for the weather delay.
And it's so funny because when you get that kind of turnover as a team, you talk about sudden change. So I'm so for sure Philadelphia had something drawn up that they said, if we get a turnover, this is what we want to go to. Now that gets erased, and it's like starting the game or the second half over now. You don't get to pick up from that momentum.
You know, we talk all the time as players and coaches, next play mentality. So what you have to do if you're a player or coach in this situation, whatever's happened up to this point, irrelevant. Okay? This game is going to be determined by what happens in the next 1 quarter and 4 minutes. And you have to just dig back in, get your mind right, get your spirit right, and go play. Whatever happened up to this point, doesn't matter. Go play and win this game right now.
I just wonder if Philly's big O-line in this third or second halftime break we're having here, if they start to maybe wear down a smaller defensive line of the Dallas Cowboys now. That's something I'm interested to see.
Sure, both teams back on the field yet again. We're seeing Prescott run right past us down here on the end zone. What is the first play that you're running then if you're the Eagles offense and you're trying to get back into this one?
To Sims's point, I let that big offensive line start controlling, start wearing on that defensive line, run the football. They've been dominant running the ball up to this point already. That's going to be the difference down the stretch.
That's why he's on the screen.
Sure.
Saquon Barkley.
Hand it to that cat right there.
Saquon Barkley, 11 rushes, 61 yards, 1 touchdown so far in this one. You're right. We could just feed it to 26.
Yeah, feed it to 26. Jalen Hurts is playing awesome. This is what's unfair about the Eagles sometimes. It feels like a cheat code. It's like, hey, everybody's covered. Oh, yeah, but Jalen Hurts has 6 seconds to throw, and then he scrambles and makes a big play. Or they beat you with the run game. They just have so many options.
No doubt. And the big decision for Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator in Dallas, is are they going to really load up and try to stop Saquon Barkley? Then those opportunities start happening outside to A.J.
Right.
Dotson made the big play earlier. Philadelphia has to be ready to take advantage of that if that situation arises.
Yeah, we've seen Jalen Hurts so far. He's rushed for 2 touchdowns, 48 yards, 101 yards passing. But we haven't seen A.J. Brown in the way that we've become accustomed to see him on the perimeter so far in this game.
And to what Jason just said, if Eberflus and that Cowboys defense decides to be more aggressive, now it will open up A.J. Brown. You're going to have some one-on-one coverage. We were talking to one of the Eagles executives, said, we're not going to change what we do. Whatever the defense gives us, we're going to take advantage of that. And I think that's what we've seen so far. The lanes have opened up, Hurts run. If they take that away, I expect to see A.J. Brown making some big plays.
Yeah, but what you do as a play caller in this situation, you have this extra 45 minutes to think about what's happening and what you want to do. You look back and say, number
we didn't
11
give that guy the ball.
So let's throw up a couple for this guy and make sure he gets some touches.
I think Devin makes a great point. You always want to let the offense just come to players. But at times, there's times where you got to go, wait, he's our best offensive player. We got to just call a few plays to where he gets the ball and gets in the flow of the football game a little bit. And then he feels better, the team feels better, and I feel like they have to make a little better effort there.
What's the balance of that when Jalen Hurts has been playing the way he's playing tonight? Do you want to start saying, let's get it to AJ, or do you just say, Jalen, keep doing
Keep your cape on.
Keep doing what you're doing. The call and wide receiver screen, the bubble screen, things like that. And now where A.J. Brown feels like, hey, I made one layup, and now I'm ready to play. And
you do love me.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah, it was definitely Hurts that was ready to counter when we saw the Cowboys making their way up and down the field. They were able to score at ease with Jalen Carter out being ejected earlier on this game. But let's talk about Dak Prescott, this offense for the Cowboys. Okay, he was 12 for 20, 127 yards. I mean, he was in the flow of this game. Stop, start. Here we go again. And number 4's got to get ready to put it on behind 4.
Yeah, if you, Brian Schottenheimer, you pull back and say, I like where we are. We're efficient. We're balanced. We've scored on most of our drives. Dak looks comfortable. We're getting the runners involved here a little bit. You know, the turnover down in the red zone obviously kills them, but he's got to feel good about it. But they, too, need to look for some opportunities to make some big plays outside. Persistence in the running game is going to create a single high look and man-to-man coverage. They got to take advantage of it to make some plays.
And I think that delay does help you go and say, hey, I know we turned the ball over, but that was after we were driving down the field. Yeah. Let's get over this. When we get the ball back, let's keep doing what we're doing.
They still haven't stopped us all day.
Exactly.
Right.
And you get to harp on that instead of the Eagles get the ball, they go and score, and now you're trying to play catch-up. You got to do that with this delay.
Yeah. I do think there's opportunities to throw the ball down the field, like Jason Garrett's saying. Dak's stats don't necessarily say how good he's played today. We got to remember there was a big pass interference call down the field for a 40 or 50-yard gain to George Pickens. He's played really well, but I think they can attack outside even more.
Yeah, Brian Schottenheimer has to be happy with what his offense has done so far. Let's talk about the Dallas defense a little bit, and for that, we'll go over to Jack, Tony, and Rodney.
Yeah, Coach, I'm interested, if you're Coach Schottenheimer for Dallas, what would you have been saying there in the locker room moments ago?
Well, number one, defense, you got to step up now. Our offense is playing well, but defensively, we've got to make a game-changing play. We've got to get a stop here, not let this become a 2-score game.
And that's when I jump in.
And this is really our first look at the team without Micah Parsons. What have you noticed about the way they're playing defensively without him?
I think the Dallas defense, they have to stay patient. They don't have an outstanding rusher like a Micah Parsons. I expect for defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus to be a little bit more aggressive in the second half. Jalen Hurts has all day back there. Bring a little pressure just to try to surprise him. You can still play zone behind it, Coach, but bring some pressure.
Obviously, he doesn't want to give these receivers one-on-one chances. That's been the strategy the whole game. They've shut down Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. But it's got to come from somewhere. Dante Fowler had a couple of good rushes late. Kenny Clark, maybe you guys got to step up and you got to get some individual rush going. If that doesn't work, you're right. You got to do something. You got to bring that fifth guy.
Take me to the other side of the ball. Eagles defensively. What do you want to see the rest of the way on that side?
Wow, I want to see their secondary step up. The corner opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, Adoree Jackson has to play with more confidence, has to play with more fire, Coach. He looks lost out there, and this is not the same defense that we saw in the Super Bowl like you just told me.
Yeah, we need to see some discipline. We got to eliminate the penalties, eliminate the big plays that have come off penalties, and let's dominate up front. That's our signature. Where are our front guys? Okay, yeah, we don't have Jalen Carter. Somebody else has to step up and get that dominance up front.
Yeah, and I'm going back to the Phillies offensive line. They need to continue to run the football, pound Dallas. Dallas is a smaller bunch like you talked about in the pregame show. They need to run, wear these guys down, and see where that takes them.
And if you're Vic Fangio, we've looked at the stats. Dallas is averaging 6 yards a carry. That can't happen. We've got to shut that run down and get to some second and longs and third and longs where we can turn our pass.
And play smart. No dumb penalties, nothing stupid, nothing selfish, and you're right in the game.
Eagles defensive line warming up right here over here in front of us. It's starting to look closer to full speed as we send it back to Maria.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, remember that Eagles defense. They led the league in total defense, second in scoring defense, but playing without Jalen Carter after being ejected for spitting at Dak Prescott 6 seconds into this game. Meanwhile, defensively for Dallas, Chris, you spent some time with Trayvon Diggs before this game actually kicked off. What did you learn?
He's looked good, first off. I mean, we just talked about the Eagles receivers not getting the ball. Part of the problem is because they got some good corners there in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then Trayvon Diggs, we weren't sure how healthy he was going to be, but he kept giving me that look in pregame like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then I got to watch him in pregame, and he looked ready. I don't think the Eagles thought he was really going to play to the ability of what he's shown to this point. He's played well.
The only play they've converted is a pass interference on Elam. Bland and Diggs have been really good at taking away that passing game, and it should allow them to focus more on Saquon Barkley and stopping the run.
Right. The big issue for Dallas's defense is the rush lane integrity. We saw it in the first half with Jalen being able to run the football. So we got to somehow quiet Saquon down, and we can't let Jalen get out. Those two guys are the best players that Philadelphia has on offense, and they'll step up in these big moments. You got to make sure you control them.
Remember, on offense for the Eagles, they only lost one starter. That's Mekhi Becton. So you would think if there's one unit that would be able to go into a locker room, have to take a break and come back, it would be the Eagles offense because they're so used to working together.
They played a big game football. They got the confidence of, hey, we just won the Super Bowl and beat the Chiefs. They were the best defense in football last year. And then we know how awesome, talented they are at every position. So, yeah, they're going to be the unit that has to carry the team here down the stretch.
And I think one of the things we have to watch for, what big play happens after you have such a long break, which team makes a big either defensive play or offensive play that gets some momentum going for this end of the game push. I think that could be a big moment in this game.
And if you think about Philadelphia, the last half of the season and their playoff run to the Super Bowl last year, Saquon Barkley was really good in the first half. He was phenomenal in the second half. He was a closer for them. They're looking for that tonight.
Hey, listen, these Eagles fans are looking for a closer. They're playing Nuck If You Buck. They've already unveiled their championship banner. Some of these fans have been here for 20 hours. They started the day with Savannah Guthrie on Today. They didn't mind a weather delay if it means a victory against their rival. Guess what? We'll find out if they get one right after this. Dak Prescott trying to hold them off. Stay tuned.
All right, after about an hour and 2-minute delay, we're going to get back to action with the Eagles having the ball in a 4-point lead. Teams editing their warm-ups, getting back on the field. There's Dak Prescott, just made a tackle on the last play a moment ago. Time gives us a chance to comb through the video from that very first play of the game and the incident where Jalen Carter was thrown out. Let's go back to that. Now, here is what was going on. Prescott in the huddle walks out between his offensive linemen, and Dak spits down towards the ground, but in the direction of the Eagles with Carter, who had walked over there, and that begins the interaction of the two. Prescott's spit was down, Carter was right face to face and onto his uniform jersey. Carter was kicked out of the game. The official, Brian Neal, the umpire, was standing right there and saw what went down. So at least it gives you a little bit of the brief history of what happened there.
Yeah, and what we will not know is what was said to make Jalen Carter walk towards the huddle of the Dallas Cowboys. He was 3 yards across the line of scrimmage. Here's the ball here. And that sort of begins it. Now Dak gets engaged, and he walks over and he spits on the ground, and Jalen didn't like that, and nobody would. And so now they come out, and Dak doesn't want to take it, and Jalen doesn't want to take it, and here they go.
And Chris, that other angle showed us that the umpire was looking back towards the Cowboys huddle and saw that, and then was watching the rest of the confrontation. Remember, there was an Eagles player, their fullback on special teams, Ben Van Sumeren, who was down with a knee injury, the same knee that he had injured that cost him the season before, right off that opening kickoff. And Carter was on the opposite side of the sideline. You saw everything that played out. So there's a little bit more of the video evidence of what took place. Much more to be talked about in interviews in the few days after that.
And just to tell the whole story, what Dak did was not a foul.
Right.
What Jalen did was a foul.
The delay, 1 hour and 5 minutes. We get back to work, and remember the last play, Dallas was driving for a touchdown